If you were listening to the show last week, you would have heard this.
I gonna be, most probably, if I'm honest, offended if people keep saying the word carnival. It had nothing to do with carnival. We could not do what happened in St Paul's, in Hartcliffe, in Clifton. We just couldn't do it. There was, like my colleague has said here, Amira, people have had licenses and they've done things right. We had so many people who abused the law right in front of everybody's faces on Saturday and puts people's lives at risk.
So last week we heard from three voices from the St. Paul's community: Clive Smith, a Miracle, and Judy Davis, who shared their concerns about this year's St. Paul's Carnival. They spoke about the event being run under a newly formed CIC, questioned whether the current governance is fit for purpose, and called for greater community consultation to ensure the Carnival reflects its roots and the people it represents. Today, we're joined by Ricardo Sharry, director from St. Paul's Carnival, to respond to some of those concerns and give us the committee's perspective. Ricardo, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. We've heard. We did hear you on the show last week when you spoke to Joe Sims on the program. Let's start with a lot of the concerns around governance and structure first. Can you clarify what the Carnival is now operating under, CIC, and what does this really mean to the community?
Yeah. So obviously the concept of the Carnival is obviously grassroots, but the CIC was set up probably about 10 years ago now to kind of support the, I guess you could say, day-to-day yearly management of how the kind of the logistics around the Carnival. And throughout that sort of 10-year period, there's been a number of different iterations of people that have been from the community and for the community that have represented the Carnival. And I guess you could say in its most recent iteration in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, it's been around trying to deliver Carnival year on year, whilst trying to get that balance right between having the kind of traditional kind of processions and sound systems, whilst also recognising that the community is obviously evolving and what that means for the city around for their Carnival.
So, okay, I suppose the Carnival runs, that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what company is running the Carnival, that's the most thing. Do you think there's been a breakdown in transparency with the Carnival in general?
I wouldn't say a breakdown in transparency. What I would say is managing a carnival or any kind of asset is a dance, right? So take the analogy from our community, which means that it's a symbiotic relationship between the community and the organisation. For example, if the carnival organisation was to disappear, we can see from what happened at the beginning of the month, on Carnival Day, that grassroots nature of the community coming out and self-organising still happens. So I don't think it's about a breakdown in communication, because Carnival has, for the last couple of years, been talking with the city around kind of that ongoing funding challenge around specifically, closing streets. If we were honest with the city, the logistical challenge really, and where a lot of the money kind of argument comes in, is around kind of closing the streets and making it safe.
Correct. Which didn't happen on the day. I mean, you just on your own, Ricardo, but I'm going to ask some questions. Do you think that's an evidence that what happened 2 Saturdays ago is an evidence that the Carnival Committee have lost control?
I wouldn't. I mean, that's in essence a loaded question, insofar as losing control suggests that we didn't communicate with the city around, how the carnival would be run, obviously. What I would say is, to take it on a more positive spin, is that actually the fact that we had grassroots communities coming out and kind of self-organising kind of reinforces the fact that we need to rebuild and make sure we understand what that carnival looks like. Because ultimately, we did the elders brunch, we did the young persons event, and we celebrated the theme around roots of resistance. So, we had over 80 elders that came to Circle Media, and obviously I heard what the community said, and the legacy of those people in those rooms was represented in terms of the way the carnival was back in the day, and they was able to reflect on that. So I don't think it's about setting up like an adversarial nature between the carnival and the community, because ultimately I'm solution focused and want to work
Absolutely,
with the community.
solution focused is what I guess the community would like to hear. They want solutions to what they are seeing as a current problem within the St. Paul's Carnival community. I mean, just keeping it on governance and structure. Has your chair resigned?
Our chair has moved on before the carnival. So yeah, we are essentially looking at structure and restructuring and kind of what that looks like.
She's resigned before the carnival itself, yeah?
Yeah, essentially. She moved on just a little bit before for various different reasons, which I haven't spoken to her about around disclosing, so I didn't feel like it's appropriate for me to air that on air right now.
No problem, yeah. So I mean, it's a good thing you're here, because you are from St. Paul's yourself, right? Which is grassroots. I mean, that's one of the other views shared by the, around governance. It's a lack of understanding of cultural aspect of the St. Paul's Carnival, what it's truly about. A lot of them felt like people who ran the carnival didn't know anything about the community. You think that's been the case?
I mean, the committee, the people that's been on the committee, both past and present, are from the diaspora. So unless there's like a specific challenge around, around the community, then I would echo, like my background is youth and community work, and I would, I'm always fair. So I would say that I have definitely recognized from coming on board that it's around how we engage with the community and also focus on that kind of young person's aspect, because ultimately as custodians and our generation, we almost can become as like gatekeepers, because we've all got these concepts around what we want Carnival to be. But ultimately the young people of today, and I heard what they said around wanting the Carnival to continue, they have a different view around how they see that Carnival in future. So, my generation and my parents' generation, who obviously came over, will have a very specific connection to Carnival in comparison to the young people that are now growing up and will take Carnival into the future. So I think it's about having that consistency and legacy of around how the Carnival will evolve, but also how we engage with the community. So, I'm here and want to take up that challenge, essentially.